Good morning. I'm higher vibrations, and so are you. Thank you so much for all of the support that we've been getting over the past little bit. It's been really fun to see all of these people, all of you joining together in unison, in community, and in support of all. So I want to say thank you for that. There's a lot happening right now for everybody. We're having these really crazy energy fluctuations, huge amounts of energy coming in, and then there's like this all of a sudden like a reprieve or a moment where you're not sensing it so much, and so it feels kind of like a roller coaster, and those moments where we're having that peace and that calm. I don't know about any of you, but my first reaction is why. Like, why are the birds suddenly quiet in the forest, kind of a feeling. And just to validate anyone else's experience and to know that you're okay. Hello, Marcus. Energy from the galactic core. Yes. Oh, it's been so amazing and great. In a lot of our activations, our chakras are so powerful, right? They already are. However, stepping into the I don't know, the power of it has changed recently, and over the past few days, particularly over the past 24 hours for me, I've noticed another like spike in that experience. And so we're noticing chakras. Not We're not just talking about the regular seven. We all know about the seven. um, there's a lot more chakras that we have in our physical form, as well as in areas very close to our body and out and out and out. And some of these chakras that we hadn't had access to or knew about before are like shouting, saying, "Hey, look at me," and letting people know that they're getting activated. And those other chakras, those chakras that had kind of been dormant for a little while, are coming online, which is really cool. Along with that, we've been talking about it for a little bit, though. It's just good to remind that we're having activations in this DNA that was dormant before. That's all that's really happening, is that we're waking up. Our parts of our DNA are waking up. That junk DNA that scientists used to call junk was 90 to 95% of our DNA that wasn't real DNA or something like that. Now everyone, including the medical and the scientific world, are understanding and accepting that that was actually DNA in its dormancy, and that now it's coming online. Babies are being born with this already online, and that's where the science part came from. It's fun to hear science say things that we know are true. Janie, hello, welcome. It's good to see you. um, there's a lot of, as this energy comes through, I'm just going to give some suggestions for what I've done. There's a bunch of stuff that we all automatically do. We do grounding, we do, all kinds of like meditation and self-care and stuff like that. People use a variety of stones and things to equalize, to balance out. Hello, RT Home, welcome. Oh, Jeff, I always say your name, but hi, Jeff. um, and so to balance out that other element, a lot of us are using like stones and stuff. And one of the things that I have found very useful is to use the Oregon or Organite. It's a couple of different, like shungite and quartz crystal and some type of lead or metal that's connected and put together in the form of like any kind of container or vessel. You have this kind of an idea, or you can have one of these. That helps the energy balance out. If you can't get one of these or something like this, putting salt in your bathtub really helps. It really does. Just fill up your bathtub like halfway, when you're not using it, as well as when you're using it. Um, and then just let that salt be in there. While we're getting all these solar flares coming in, it does help to ionize it. For those of you that are closer to the ocean coast, then it's you already have a lot of that going through, and it helps you. So that's just a suggestion. These ones are the cheapest ones that I've found. Cheapest, most affordable is the right word. They're really cool. They're just little pucks, nothing particularly special about them. I got 4 of these for 24 bucks on Etsy. And so it's kind of really cool. And in fact, he sent me a code. I am not sponsored by him or anything like that. This is something that I like. I asked if I could share it. This is the guy, the person, and the code is on there. I'll actually read it to you when I get it back so I can see it. Um, the code is Buster10 to get 10% off, and this is Organite Andy. Though you don't need to do this particular one. This is just one of the most the most affordable that I found. He gave me 4 of these for 24 bucks. And then I also got a free gift of another little one. That's cute. It's shaped like a heart. Anyway, anything like that will assist you, whatever you have available for you. If you have the ability to, if it's too cold to put your feet in the soil, I would suggest bringing soil or some type of dirt into the house, sand, even taking baths. So that's my little spiel on helping as this energy is coming through. To say hi to some more people who have joined. We have Patricia here. Hello. Marcus says, I've been feeling weird with tingly daily on hands. I have that written down on here. Yes, legs and feet. I honestly feel I'm losing my mind. It is not normal feeling these every day. I totally get you, and I'm with you. And I'm having the same thing happening. The vibration and tingly stuff is happening on every part of our body. It seems to. I'm just talking to other people too. There's a lot of people who have this happening. It seems to be different for every person, the area of your body, and it's kind of been fun to watch in this, vantage point, because then I can see that usually that has to do with the chakra area that person is activating right then or needs to work on in some way. So it's something to consider. You'll have the tingling on the cheeks. There's one of the most common ones, or the head as well as the neck. Feeling the tingling inside the throat, not my favorite experience. It was a little bit like it makes you want to like try to cough or, it doesn't feel all that comfortable. But that tingling is the same thing that we're feeling on the outside. And all the way through the body, I'm noticing. So when I take it in, I'm taking in this sensation, I'll accept it, because I know what it is. I can feel that it's an upgrade. It's helping me. It's an activation. It's like parts of us are waking up, like in a microscopic way. And when I kind of give my consent for it, then it flows all the way through. It feels like a wave that goes through my body and doesn't last. And it does linger for a little bit, but not very long. And then it'll come back later on. So maybe something like that might help you. I agree with you. It's really a bizarre experience. Aline, I think I said your name right. I'm sorry if I didn't. Hello. Stacy, hi. Good to see you, Stacy. Julie, hello. Mandolin, just checking my phone before Chewy walkabout. Oh, right on. I'm so happy that you joined us. Thank you, Mandolin. There's a lot of really awesome stuff happening right now, not just okay, let's talk about really quickly before we forget the solar flare activity. We all know about, we're kind of watching. It's become a almost like watching the stock market, only for us. That's what we do instead, is watch the Schumann resonance and the solar flares, because it's fun. You can see exactly when the energy is happening for you. There's a reason you can point out. You're like, look, I saw that. I felt that spike that just happened in the Schumann resonance. I felt that spike just on impact of that big solar flare. And then we're having other things happening too, planetarily speaking. There's a lot happening in the next couple of weeks and also in the next couple of days. The one that I've had fun watching is this conjunction. I think it's Venus and Jupiter, though I often get the local planets wrong, so I apologize. They're moving into a conjunction that happens every 3 years and 3 months, and that peak, or that happens, their finale happens on the 2nd, March 2nd or March 3rd, depending where you are in the planet. And what's really cool about that is that they slowly come together. They call it a kiss. And when they come together, then every time, in my experience that I've been paying attention, that you can trace it back every 3 years and 3 months. Something awesome and significant in the awakening occurred. So it's really neat that that's happening. We have a variety of other things happen planetarily, though. Really, we're talking about the ascension experience, right? What's it feel like to have these things happening? And I'm letting you know about these planets because it's like awesome, exciting kind of stuff. Carmen, welcome, buddy. It's so good to see you. Mandolin says, I've been watching the moon line up with Jupiter. I think it's Uranus. Thank you. Patricia says, I'm starting to get used to feeling vibrations in my body. In fact, it's kind of nice, especially at night. I often lulls me to sleep. Yeah, I'm having that sensation too. And I'm just going to be straight up blunt with y'all in a polite way, probably still, is that the vibration as it moves down, When it moves all the way down to your root chakra area, I would suggest that you do that in the privacy, the most private place possible. That's happened to me a few times. There's not any expectation that it's going to happen. I'm like, oh, I'll just open myself up for this. And it's like, oh, I really don't want to be having joyful spasms in a public setting. So just keeping that in mind. That's kind of funny. So we're having all of this sensational stuff, these sensations happening, as well as, yeah, you got to say it though, right? Like, it's happening. It's a thing. It's the most grounding thing you can also notice that you're experiencing also. Yeah, so, oh, I want to say your name right, Mariette. I'm not sure because of the E with the Mariette. I'm hoping that's right. If it's not, please let me know how to say your name. Yes, the fear and depression. So what I actually wrote was burst of irritability, anger, sadness / depression, right? And those don't have to be long lasting. That they're coming through. It's like, so we're like a two-way highway right now. We have energy moving down through us, down into the earth. And we also have energy moving up through us, up into wherever it's on its way to go, and as that two-way highway is happening, a lot of us are getting sensations of those things that are leaving that are unpleasant, and that are not the most joyful. And when those happen, I had originally tried to figure out why, oh, what is this? What is this sensation? Is this a warning? Is this whatever it is, And by doing that, I was judging it. And when I judge it, when I look at it and I hold it, it turns into mine, and it sticks to me for a little bit. And then, and if I choose to instead not practice judgment, that's what Archangel calls it. Judgment is deciding what it is. It's not to say it's good or bad. It's simply, it is, and then when we do that, we're like, you existed, you're real, you're a sensation. And to let it go, to just release it. Don't let it connect to you in any way. It's not yours. It's not your sensation that you're feeling. It's an echo of a memory, is basically the best way to describe what it is. And so it arms and helps if you send love to it. And when I say send love to it, the best way to practice that or to do that is to imagine in yourself what it feels like inside you, like how your liver smiles when you're saying I love you to this person or this thing that you love so much, and to almost do it, to pull up that love, that energy, and then to notice that as you say I love you, you don't even use your voice if you don't want to, that it becomes a thing. It's a thought form. It's a sphere of light love, and it goes into your vicinity. Doing that will help it move on, as well as improve the frequency of the space that you're in. And to know that this is a temporary thing. It's not always fleeting for everyone. It stuck to me for longer periods of time in the beginning, and it got better, and I got better at it over time. So please don't lose hope. Know that you're okay, and that this is moving through you. Another thing that I've found very assisting for me, and that is to join these Zoom meetings. That's why we do them. We do Zoom meetings every Friday. We're doing it once a week for now, every Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and starting at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it goes for 3 hours. So if you can't join in the beginning, you can join late, you can leave early. It's all good. So that also really helps. And it's not so much the community that we find there, though that's cool. There's validation. You're in an energy that's similar to yours, that higher frequency space, and you're not being pulled away so much, so that's something to consider as well. I post the link for these meetings every week in my Telegram group, as well as the community section of this YouTube channel. So if anyone ever wants to join, the link's always there. It's always free. You never have to have your camera on or your audio on. If you choose to participate without your voice, you can type it in the chat and I read it, and then people can have that conversation with you in that way. So keeping that in mind. Okay. I also offer one-on-ones, though I do charge a little bit for that. I charge $22 an hour. So that's a side point. So I hope that assists you in some way, and to know that this energy Mariette is leaving and moving through. Patricia, good vibrations. Yeah. Anna says dizzy spiral spells. Yes, the dizziness is like, and the spiral is a really good way of saying that. Yeah, it feels like, well, like a down a drain almost, and that energy that's moving through is just us aligning to that frequency, right? It's really cool. Patricia, save money on batteries. I'm not sure what that's for, but I like that. Mandolin says, even in the most troublesome situations, I just feel the strong sense of knowing and also like experienced. Yeah. Yeah. And just knowing that you're calm and you're at peace, that you're safe, that it's great. This is exciting. The amount of excitement coming through for this stuff that's happening right now is like really awesome. That other people are sensing the same excitement as I am. That's really neat. Julie says, great explanation. Oh, thank you. Vidette, hello. Hello, my beautiful sister. Only came on just to see you all for a moment before going to work. Love you. Lots of extra power than up and down moments. And yes, I will be of my food. I'm so glad you're able to join us. I've been thinking a lot about you. I'm really happy to see you. Stacy says the Zoom meetings are amazing. Yeah, they really are. Barrett says, so it is a kind of purification, the fear and depressed feelings. Yeah, kind of. When I leaned into it, I got a channeled message back from Mother Mary, and she said that what you're experiencing is what you're leaving behind. And that's really helpful. That when that came through, I was during I was recording a video and her channeling came through it happens a lot. And that has helped a lot of people to know that, but as well as myself, like it really, okay, this is what I'm leaving behind. And then it's easier to do, at least for me, because that's temporary. There's no question, and it really truly is. It's a moving through and a releasing of it. It has to be seen. There's been so many, and not just it, but all of this. If something isn't seen and acknowledged for what it is, then it kind of, and we practice some type of ignoring thing that we tend to do. Like it's a cultural thing that a lot of us have picked up along the way. When we do that, we're imprisoning that thing. We're keeping it in place, not letting it move. And when we acknowledge it, so that's what Archangel Michael's message was. He said to acknowledge without judgment and to release it with love. So acknowledging it simply, you existed, and you are something. Whether it's just a residual experience or not, it's an experience that is real, and acknowledging it allows it to be released, and then to not practice judgment completely allows it to continue to move through. And then again, like we send that love to it, right? It's like it propels it and sends it away. So I agree with your statement. Yeah, it is so intense, Anna. It's really an awesome thing that's happening. We have some other stuff let's talk about real quick before I forget about the solar plexus area. And I'm saying solar plexus area because that's where it's beginning. It's moving through all of those three chakras, particularly. It looks kind of like the energy of an egg or oval shape. It's not even fully spherical because it's encompassing the yellow chakra is the the solar plexus chakra. The one below it, the orange one, and that's the sacral chakra. And the last one in the one that of the seven, the red root chakra. Those three chakras, for most of us, are receive the least amount of attention by us. That's just how we are. All of you, chances are, if you're here listening to this video, you are really, really good at all the other chakras. The higher chakras, you're on. Which is funny because a lot of us tend to go, okay, I got to open my third eye, and how do I decalcify my pineal gland, and what do I do and these ones are good. That's the funny part. And so all of our chakras are asking us to kind of pay more attention to this area as I'm noticing it coming online in a different way. Manifestation power has amplified. All of a sudden, we're able to manifest things within a very short window of time, and especially in contrast to previous experience. And so the reason I bring this up is if you have moments that you stop in meditation or just intention, allowing yourself to just be in that space and to visualize the white light of God coming down either whatever chakra is correct for you. Sometimes that chakra light, that light goes into my heart chakra, my throat chakra, third eye, crown, it all over the place. So whatever feels like you want to pull the light in, that's the right spot. And that light's coming down from God. And as that light fills you up, fills your form, your body, sphere, space up with this white light, then let that light go to those particular chakras. Just kind of ask it to. That will help you. It sounds honestly, if I heard myself saying this 20 years ago, I would have turned the channel and laughed. So, however, it really works. It does. So if you have a moment to give it a try. We also post some of the group meditations that we do. I take the audio with my phone so no one's voice or face is captured on the experience, and I'll post those in the Telegram group because they're big enough files on my phone. I can't send them to any other format. If you are interested, you can join our Telegram group and I share them there. So that will also help. Grief. Yeah. The grief that I've felt into that and let everyone has their own experience. For me, I'm noticing what that grief is it's saying goodbye to this old paradigm, whether or not we're in a dilapidated house that is full of holes and the pipes are rotten and poisoning your water, whatever. Just add to the, even though it's that we're leaving behind something that isn't in harmony with our experience and moving to something much more beautiful, and there's still that mourning. There's still that oh, but that's my home. I'm familiar with that space. That's where I spent so much of my time, and all of us. So as we move away from that, it's good and exciting, but there's still that looking back in the rear view mirror, kind of going, oh, and also there is a handful of energies of souls that are incarnated here and have been incarnated here that for them, it's not correct for them to ascend. It's not very many, honestly. However, there is a group of individuals that their soul's journey, it just wouldn't be in alignment with them. That would be as offensive as taking a kid from kindergarten and sticking them in college. They're not ready. Their soul path isn't ready for it, so they're not going. And so a lot of us are seeing some of them leaving, and from their physical form, and that there's like this air of grief in that way. And there's a third part, is that a lot of individuals are waking up in mass right now, like a lot of people all at the same time in a way that I've never seen. And I keep saying that every year. It just ramps up every single year. And as these individuals wake up, there's that initial panic that most of us go through of, they've been lying to us this whole time, and all the uncovering of information and the original experience of jumping down rabbit holes and stuff. And so we're feeling a lot of that too. So the best way to allow that to move through is to let yourself feel it, to not ignore it. If it's a sensation, if you feel the desire to cry, let yourself cry. And I'm finding the need to cry a lot lately. Over the past few years, honestly, however, it's been primarily in like tears of joy and stuff until recently. There's a mourning. You're right, like a grief that's in the tears that are being released, and just to let it go. If you can't let yourself cry, laughter is another way of releasing that I found very useful. Whatever the release is, another experience that I think is really cool is there's a lot of individuals that do this thing called laughing yoga. I'm not sure what tribal region originated in. However, it's just a leader, one person just starts laughing, and after a while, you can't be in a place where someone's laughing hysterically without laughing too. And before you know it, the whole group is laughing, and it goes on for hours sometimes. They've done like data stuff, science and medicine and all that got involved, and they've shown like, whoa, these people are basically de-aging in some ways. Like all of a sudden, people with heart problems and blood pressure problems and different things and sleep apnea and different kinds of stuff, all of a sudden it's better, letting themselves laugh for an hour a week. So it's something to keep in mind. That's another form of release. Mariette says the mind is hyperactive now because of all the light coming in. Yeah, it's so disorienting, isn't it? It feels like I feel almost like I'm not sure where the ground is. Like these are my legs, and I'm just like, what? Where do I put my feet? It just that kind of sensation. It's really cool. It's causing a lot of dizzy stuff. The ear ringing is ramping up. The hot spots, the areas of the body just suddenly heating up really rapidly. That's a healing thing I've noticed for me in my experience. That's healing. There's something being focused on in those areas. And not just hot. I've also had the experience of cold. So that's really kind of interesting too. I know that light is colder than a room temperature experience, a typical average room temperature experience. And so there's also that sensation that you're noticing it, and so along with that, usually there's heart palpitations. That's whenever I've noticed for me, whenever I have healing happening in my body, my heart like just starts to beat really fast. And then I'll have like these, this is really almost alarming and unpleasant experiences, and that's something that's happening for a lot of people too. So hey, Stephanie, welcome. Good to see you, sister. Anna says, yes, the heat and cold flashes. Yeah, yeah. And that's a separate thing. But exactly. That's the next thing on my list. The hot cold flashes that we're having too. And they're not typical. Like it's not only at night, not only when you're in bed or that, like you expect people to talk about. It's got this other thing. It's just happening randomly. And areas of the body. Along with that, often there are like muscle spasms, Charlie horses, twitching kind of stuff happening. And here's something that's happening for a lot of people. Okay. So first you have the upper eyelid, and it just goes like this for like the rest of your life. It feels like it is so annoying. It goes on for a while. And then then it moves to the other one. And I don't know if it's the eyelid or the eyebrow. It's hard to tell because it moves and twitches all the things. Then it goes to the one below, and then over, and then here, and then here, and then to the chin. And that is an activation. Every one of us at some point has had that. And a lot of people are having that right now. So just to let any of you who are having that experience know. And then as we move through, we're having other large muscle group activations like that, where you're like having Charlie horses typically in the same spot for a little while, to the point where it starts to be like, wow, there's a concern about that area of my body, and then it moves on. And so that's just something to validate you and anybody that's having that experience. A lot of this stuff feels like it would be the cause or the reason for this acute exhaustion most of us are having. However, I got to say that's already there. That's already an experience. It's just adding to what we already have going on. We've already been understanding more and more that dream time isn't so much the dream place that we thought it was before. It's not synapses in our brain trying to figure out what happened, a couple of, work something out. We're actually doing stuff. We're actually in an astral experience as yourself. And that's what's changed, by the way. Before, in my experience anyway, when I would go do things in astral and sleep time, I would go as my higher self. Like I would be a higher being than Pamela. And now I'm going as Pamela, which is that's my name, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know. I just go by higher vibrations because we are all higher vibrations. And so that's something that's happening or changing in our sleep in that understanding way. So when you wake up already tired. And then on top of it, we're all waking up at 3 a.m. We're hearing the Taos hum. We're hearing the earth go for like 15 minutes or whatever. And I guess it's till 3:33, so it's probably 33 minutes. And then, at that time, there's all kinds of downloads that are happening and experiences, and then it's gone. There's science has proved that to be a true thing too, which is kind of fun. They call it the Taos home. Anyway, so we're having all those experiences, not to mention that when you are in sleep state, that's when you're the most open, and science explained it to you is kind of, it says that my internet's unstable. Can you all hear me? It just said that my internet's unstable. And will someone comment to be sure that I'm still live? In the meantime, I'll answer some questions and see if anyone can hear me. That would be awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, and that's something that's happening to everybody, by the way, that not just the internet and phones and things like that, all technology and systems are slowly doing this kind of thing. And these are the blackouts that all of us have already heard about for a little while. And these are reset kind of things that are happening. It's good. It's really good. As things shut off for a moment, they're resetting. And when they reset, they can take in more of the light. Just to let everyone know, there's no reason to be alarmed or panicked. We've had a couple of outages with the banking system in the area that I live in, the state that I live in, and things like that. And as they come back on, they feel better. Like I feel energy so strong, and anything to do with banks has just always been very unpleasant for me. And I'm noticing that they're not quite as bad since the outage that we had. So that's really cool. And knowing that already, and it's supposed to go on for a period of 3 months, I think is what I wrote down in that channeling. I can't remember first a period of time. It's all about threes. So anyway, just to let all of you know about that. I'm not really sure what I was talking about before, but I know I was talking about the astral experience and sleep, and so we're becoming more tired. We're having a lot more experience at night, and then on top of it, we just have this added. All of this energy is moving through us, and it's work. It's work on our body, and we're moving to a higher place. And so earlier we talked about feeling the density, feeling the sadness, feeling depression and things like that. And the way we describe it in our language, the way we speak, is to say that we're actually moving. It's moving through and out. But what it actually looks like when you look at it in the musical way that spirit translates for me is what it looks like is that we're actually we're going up high enough that it doesn't want to hang out there. So that's what's happening, is that we're pulling away from it in the melodic way that it is. I don't know if that makes any sense. So let's see. I'm glad that it's on and working again. Thank you. Vedette says, feel it. Yep. Then move on from it. Dance helps my head. And yes, and Hanzing, off food frequency. I'm tired after sleep. Astral time. I must be like flat out. Yeah. And dancing really, really helps. Moving that energy. Qigong is another example. If you don't want to dance, there's a lot of really awesome, helpful ways to move this energy through. Play. Whatever you can do to be in your playful heart, do it. And for me, that's dance. Also, playing in the snow and the sand, yoga. That's right, Anna. Any kind of movement. I find too that when I feel like I'm in a rut and I'm stuck somehow, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'll just go on this cleaning spree, and that gets me moving, and that gets it started. And then I always end up dancing while I'm cleaning. It's just a thing that I do. So let me try to catch up. I lost something from up ahead here or earlier. We were talking about my heart reverberates very strongly. It wakes me up sometimes. Stacy says, yeah. And that experience that's happening. Our heart chakras, we have our heart chakra, then we have our higher heart chakra, and it's coming through that the third heart is fully coming online. That's been really exciting. And as that's been happening, I think it's part of what this activation has been for. Back to the lower 3 chakras I was talking about. That's why a lot of us are having a lot of nausea type stuff, feeling kind of like almost a little bit sick to your stomach. The buzzing in the head, the headaches, particularly pressure that's short-lived but really intense. That's been something that a lot of us have had in particular areas. It seems like it's focusing on one area for a while, then it moves on to the next, just like the twitching did, I guess. It needs to do its work in that one spot before it moves on. And then, Elaine says, why am I not remembering my dreams? That's also a thing that I've been having too. It's really weird. For those of us who were used to being able to recall our dreams very well, when it goes into this has happened 3 times now. in the time that I've really been paying attention. And each time we come back online, like it's like we're stepping into our power. And I don't really know exactly why it happens. I just know that's the result. And then when we start to recall our dreams, all of a sudden, those who have never recalled their dreams or typically didn't recall their dreams suddenly start to. I'm still having like the vague recollection stuff. It's still there, but the actual interaction and the real full on stuff that we had going on has just disappeared for now. It's still there. Another fun side note to that, by the way, is that when we start to get our dreams back again, remember our dreams again, then it fills in all the blanks. Like I've had that happen each time. It fills in all the blanks. And the dreams from my childhood that I had forgotten or something happening like that, all of a sudden comes into forefront as well, as if I had just had that dream and it happened when I was 4 and I remember it vividly. Those things happen at the end of this cycle. So just so you know, right now we're in the respite time. This is the period where we're like, okay, time to be quiet in self, take care of self, and not over concern ourselves. But for some reason, this is always when I want to know. I want to play, and so just keeping that in mind, and so going back to the nausea and stuff like that, there's a lot of that, as well as having a lot of like gas, like burping on both ways, lots of gas moving through. And remember that when we bring in more light, we get to push away all of this stuff that isn't of the light, right? Because shadow cannot stand before the light. And so we're doing these clearings, and we're guiding out these other energies and things that don't really align with us any longer. And what's left behind is a Buddha belly, is what we're calling it. All of a sudden, our torso area like balloons out, and we know it's air. We know it's in that space. That and so in order to help that move out, we bring in the light. The reason this occurs is density it takes up a lot of space, even though it's small. And when it leaves behind a larger void, and it's air. And that air just needs to move through. And that as that air moves through, filling it up with light. That's what I was trying to say before. Yeah, lots of nausea. As well as like just noticing a lot of other bathroom stuff, like frequency and bathroom trips. There's a lot of purging happening right now too. I haven't had the weird acne stuff so much as I have been having. Whatever avenue that this density needs to leave our body, it's doing that. So we're noticing a lot of weird sweating, weird just purging, physical purging stuff. And so as that stuff comes through, just knowing that that's what's happening often helps me anyway. And then like just allowing that light to come through has to have your consent. That's what I was trying to say, is it has to have your consent. To give consent is to say that I accept this light, I accept this healing, I accept these things. And you can remove your consent from anything, any experience that you don't want to have as well. So it's very useful to know how powerful you are and how empowered you are. Anna says dancing has been ecstatic. That's awesome. Great, gentle reminder from Stephanie. Clicking the thumbs up helps for the channel reach a wider audience. Thank you. Thank you very much, Stephanie. She's right. It's kind of annoying that she's right. Not that Stephanie's right, but that's a thing. I'm one of those people that I don't like to say, please subscribe and click like, because I don't know why. It just feels like they're going to do it if they want to. Though, if you do, I appreciate it because it really does help. Anna says, cleaning spree. I love that. Yeah, it really does help that energy move through. Aline asked about vomiting at the bottom here. I'm just going to answer her that, yeah, there's everybody is having a little bit of it. Sorry about my phone. I have it on vibrate. I should put it over there. And whether or not it's actual vomiting or a experience that feels like the sensation of the need, my experience with it was very bizarre. I'm one of those people that typically my human form, my body requires a recovery time after vomiting. It's one of those, it's not easy experience for my body, like a lot of you. And what was really bizarre about it for me is that when I vomited, immediately when it was no longer in my body, I was back to good. I'm like, awesome. I just released it. Um, However, I do not suggest, I don't feel like it would, I don't know. I didn't feel any desire to make myself vomit, to intervene and induce vomiting or anything like that. So if it's meant to leave at that time, then it will, and it's there's other things happening with our diets too. Like we're starting to really notice that we're having like different allergic like symptoms to a lot of things. So for some individuals, that might be the case of what they're going through right now. I actually talked to a doctor the other day, a little bit ago, I guess, saying that nationwide, at the very least, at least in the U.S., across the board, people are all of a sudden having all of these crazy food allergies. They diagnosed so many people with meat allergy and allergy to meat that their bodies just won't digest it and process it correctly, when they had been eating meat their whole lives. I had the same thing happen, though I never got a real diagnosis. So just noticing my body's rejecting it. That was hard for me because I was very committed to my eating meat, and that was a process, and no one judges anyone else for their body not being in that place. That's where my body went to, and so over a course of a few years, I've slowly become a vegan, or basically a vegan. We still use butter sometimes, but um, Merritt says you think using medication when the symptoms are too strong interferes this with the ascension process. Everybody has their own um, biological like balance and harmony, and so everyone's different. So that's my answer. It's not a very good answer. Um, for me, because I don't use anything at all in a pill form or anything like that. I do keep a bottle from a few years ago of like a over the counter muscle relaxer, like ibuprofen or something like that, that I don't use. Um, so for me, if I then put that into my system right now, it would cause disharmony. Like immediately, my body starts to feel like it wants to vomit it up, and like that just whole. So it depends on where you're at. If you consistently use it and you had been using it up to this point, I can't see how that would interfere with it. You're already moving away from anything that isn't in a natural state in your body is a good idea, though some people just can't. Some people are really, their bodies require it right now, for whatever reason. And so, sorry, my answer wasn't very good on that. I really don't have a full on. What will help you with your ascension is to listen to your body. Your body will tell you if you're feeling guided to decrease on something, whether it be a specific kind of food or as whatever it is that your body's taking in on a regular basis. And that's something for you to look at and to listen to yourself, to trust yourself. Your intuition is on point. You got this. This part right here where your truth lives, where it's telling you the whole time, that's what I try to listen to. And so slowly I moved away from canned foods. I found out that my body isn't okay with food that's been contained in a can. A metal can, the metal somehow affects my ability to digest that food, and my body gets rid of it as quickly as possible. That's me, and so everybody's different. I hope that helps you. Or what can help you also on top of that is to allow yourself to be in a place of meditation, at least, 5 minutes. While you go into that place of meditation, you're able to align better and able to hear your body better, if that makes any sense. Um, and it doesn't mean that you have to turn off your thoughts. I don't know that that's possible. It's simply allowing the thoughts that come through to be a passerby in a crowd of people on foot walking around. You can choose to let them walk by you as the strangers that they are, or you can grab them by the shoulders and start talking to them. And I do the same thing in meditation with my thoughts. They're going to come down. The raindrops are going to come down. Do I need to interact with them? No. And to allow myself just simply just be in that space, let the thoughts move through and watch that light. The light of God is always, always, always going down into your body. It's always doing that. It's simply when we notice it, it amplifies. And there's that exchange of acceptance, of consent given by you when we kind of do that, open ourselves up. And you fill yourself up with that light. Whatever you choose is correct for you at that time, too. That's the coolest thing, is that when you're in meditation like that, when you're taking in the light, it could be that you're guided to send that light to your pinky, or you're guided to let that light swirl, or you're guided to suddenly enjoy an episode of Ren and Stimpy in your mind that you watched when you were a kid, because right then you needed to laugh. Whatever it is happens, and that's correct. And when we're doing that, when we're pulling that light in, those moments, those joyful sensations that come through, they're showing you who you truly are. That's what you really feel like. That's your natural state, is that joy, is that gladness, that happiness, that playfulness, and knowing what you feel like, then you can go back to it like a GPS and be like, okay, I want to go back to my 0 point. That's kind of a 0 point. That's the threshold to it anyway. So that's something that can help. Deanna says, I have to take life-saving meds for lung transplant. Does that keep me from ascending higher? No. Thank you. I already answered that question, I guess. It's a good question. I'm going to reiterate one more time. It's not suggested for you. I'm not suggesting anyone stop taking their medication. I'm also very, I say often, please go check out your doctor if you feel like there's any of these symptoms might be alarming for you. This is these symptoms that we're talking about of ascension are going to happen anyway. By the way, we're ascending. You're already there. Like, there's nothing that you can do to get kicked off the train, right? You're here. You are part of this experience. What we're talking about is ways to make it so it's easier to do. It's more palatable. It's not as intense. And that's what we're talking about. So to answer the question more directly, it won't stop it. No. It's sometimes, if we have a lot of outside things going through our body, it will take it. It feels kind of like turbulence in some ways, if that makes any sense. Yes, you're welcome. No, it's all good. Thank you so much, Deanna. I'm so glad that you asked that question, and as well as you, Mariette. Like, there's a lot of concern about that and worry about going and seeing a doctor. So I just want to reiterate, if you want to see a doctor, do it, dude. Worst case scenario is he's going to say, you're fine. You're perfect health. Worst case scenario, meaning that happens to me. And it's kind of uncomfortable because they kind of give you that side eye, like, judgment of, oh, you're a hypochondriac, aren't you? And it's like, oh, right on. I'm glad that I'm perfectly healthy. Bye. Let's see. Deanna says, I also have had adult acne, severe. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Having all the stuff moving through our pores. A lot of us are having acne or weird rashes. And also having weird sweat. Just stuff moving out of our body. He's just going out. And then frequency in bathroom trips, both ways, all ways, 3 ways, whatever ways, like noticing your a purging happening. That's what we're calling it. It's a purging. And like, we're leaving behind that which does not serve us. And a lot of us noticing the purge in the bathroom, there's almost always like this moment, this anger that comes through, knowing it's not yours. It's just this weird irritation that comes through. That's like the echo of the density that's going away, that's we're leaving behind. It's very bizarre. So just that's one of the bursts of anger. There's also these bursts of anger and irritability. I'm noticing it more as irritability. I've also noticed the sensation of depression or sadness that lingers for just a moment for me. However, as that's coming through, knowing that it's moving through, that it's not yours, really helps. And then, like the popping stuff, this is something that I wanted to talk about for just a second, because it's really strange. As we're realigning and reconnecting everything, I'm noticing this popping thing happening in my body. And it's not like typical popping that you would expect, like my neck's popping or my back's popping or whatever, like if you've had a long day slumped over the desk or something. It's a different kind of, the stone, sorry about that, got crystals everywhere. Anyway, we're noticing this popping, and it's not like a physical popping, but it's a sensation of, it's the same. While that's happening, I'm noticing that the pop all of a sudden the room looks lighter. There's more light in the physical room that I'm standing in. It's very bizarre. And that popping has a lot to do with specific areas of our body, the area of our shoulder wing area. Like a lot of us have been sensing this weight or this having this sensation of the appendage of the wings. It's a very interesting experience. Let's see. Let me catch up. Deanna says, is it good to know others experiencing the same? It is good to know others are experiencing the same. Yes, exactly. That's why we do this channel, is to validate. When I found out that I wasn't alone and how healing and helpful it was when I found a group of people on a YouTube channel that would meet every Monday like this. This was what I looked forward to all week long. And just simply knowing that I'm not alone. There are many others going through the same things. Tracy says, I have pain in my shoulders. Yeah, collarbone, shoulder blades. Any suggestions? Yeah, so that's what I was talking about, the wings. It's a really bizarre experience, and it's kind of almost strange to say it out loud. Though we're really sensing it right at the shoulder blades, and it feels like it's like the muscles in my shoulders are learning to support the weight of it. That's what it feels like, and it's like a different, what does it say behind me? That means God, and that means Jesus. It's like spells of love, basically. It's the old sea scroll, I think, ancient Hebrew text of the names. I just like the pretty rainbow of the forest too. That's the light that comes through being a rainbow like that. It really resonates with me. Yeah. Doctors don't have to be a thing, though. If you don't feel called to, I'm just reminding people to please keep that in mind if they need to. There's no reason to avoid it. Aline, thank you. Your answers are great. Thank you for saying that. I'm happy. I'm not sure. If anybody needs more clarity, please go ahead and ask. We have about 8 more minutes of this conversation to go. So Anna says, I'm feeling guided to decrease my consumption of weed, especially early in the day, but it's very hard for me to do. Yeah. A lot of us have noticed that kind of thing, like the natural remedies, the micro dosing and things like that are just, we're not so much in resonance with it anymore. Thank you, Hanane. I want to say your name right. I almost called you something else. I'm sorry. Hanane. Thank you. There's something else that a lot of us are noticing that so we're being called more and more to work on our inner child, do dark night of the soul kind of stuff. Those of you who don't know what the dark night of the soul is, it sounds scarier than it actually is, especially these days. It's changed. The experience of the dark night of the soul has been fun to watch, how people experience it now. However, so it's known as, it's this period of time that feels like depression for a window of time. I found that when I discovered what it was called was the solution to make it go away. Because when you know what it is, it's like, I don't know, it changes it. It takes away the power of it. And during that time, there's a shedding that occurs, a shedding of those around you in your life that no longer are in harmony with your trajectory and your experience that you're having at this time. And not to say that they weren't beautiful people and that they won't come back into your experience. It's simply that at this time, they're not in resonance with you. And so you'll notice a lot of relationships moving away, shedding, and not just people in relationships, but also shedding of other things that just don't serve you. And then going through this whirlwind of understanding this new world, the world that you've been in that just hadn't seen before. And there's this whole process. The solution to that is shadow work, or also known as inner child work. Shadow work, I have found, using that term in my search engine when I'm looking up on YouTube, things like that, it brings me closer to what I'm looking for to help me solve this, to heal through this, and to find that higher frequency space with it. So if you can, try that out. Search shadow work. There's an Aaron Apke one that I like. There's a shaman one that I use a lot. Like, what it is a process of walking through a door into, and then you go down into a space. And then I always have the additional go through another door and then go down into another space. And that's down into that subconscious place where those children of yours, of yourself, reside and often are not, hadn't been looked at. We slowly edit ourselves based on those around us and the different critiques that we've been given, starting as a child. And those pieces, those edited shards of self, go into this place that I'm talking about, into this basement, this darker place, this, out of view place. And so addressing these children, this inner child, these experiences that had been ignored, releases them. And when we release them, then we find ourselves in a state, in a place, in a world that is absolutely full of light that we hadn't been able to perceive before. There was that barrier. And so that will assist you in this experience a lot. If you haven't done that, to look that up. Shadow work. If you want to know more about what it is, what the dark night of the soul is, there's videos on that. I think I tried to make a few videos about that a handful of years ago, or whenever I started my YouTube channel. However, I haven't done one for a little while. Paratrooper says, I had no idea I felt right into a new age trap. What a new age trap? What happened? I fell right into the new age trap. I wonder if what you mean is what I had experienced too. Honestly, I used to be that person who would tease people like me, who would often, make jokes and honestly pass judgment. It's like, oh, you're one of them. You need meds or something like that. And I'm that person now, and I've become very aware of all of these things, and the things that I had ignored and been there all along. It's the most bizarre thing. Lean says, is our world in a shadow work? Is it it is Eileen. Thank you so much, Eileen. Is our world in shadow work? Yeah, I would say so. I would say so in a lot of ways. Um, Earth herself is already good. She's already resonating at this higher frequency space, and most of the other energies are as well. It's simply, as a population on her planet, on her body, and within, there is a shedding of a dark night of the soul occurring. Yeah, and as that's happening, there are various individuals that are running to the light and those that are running from the light. And that's whatever way that person is going is correct for them. And there's no effective way to force anyone in any of these experiences. It won't help them. And a lot of us early on were like, oh, I gotta go shout from the rooftops and tell the world, and I love that. And that's you showing yourself, your truest self, that you are a service-oriented being, you're service to others. And that's all you need to be on this journey, by the way. It's service to self or service to others. It's a very, very hard thing to meet the criteria of service to self. Like, so just so you know, you're here, you're there, you're on this journey. Margaret says she's in Australia. Awesome. There's a lot of individuals in Australia right now that are coming online and connecting. It's really fun. Mariette says, thanks for all your supporting answers. Thank you. And I hope you return and join us again. We also have, again, reminding everybody that on Fridays, only Fridays for now, we've on Fridays we're having our group Zoom meeting. It's free. There's no you don't need to turn on your camera. You don't need to turn on your audio. It's 3 hours long. It starts at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we go for 3 hours. So if you cannot make it at the time when we start, you can join later, or you can leave early. It's meant to be a very open space, and we just have conversations with each other. Paratrooper, well, there is no such thing as being saved by spaceships. No star seeds, no twin flames, no manifesting. It's a trap. Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sending you love and whatever assistance that you can get from us. Like, I'm on board. I understand that there are certain things that you described in that list that I don't resonate with either. However, manifestation and things like that, I just, everybody has their own experience, and I can't ignore it. I can't deny what I see, and what I experience on a regular basis right now. It's I hope that you find your peace, paratrooper. I really do. I'm getting ready to leave. I just want to answer 2 more questions. Marriott says, you cannot spread the light if you didn't face your shadows before. Exactly. That's right. Exactly. And I guess you can spread as much light as you were able to take in, right? And so the shadows are just in the way. And I'm sending you so much love, paratrooper. Anna says, absolutely. And shedding dead skins. Thank you for sharing your insight and experiences, higher vibrations. Thank you. And thank you all. I'll be going live again next Sunday at the same time. And then again, like I said, on Friday, we'll have our Zoom meeting. If anyone's interested in a one-on-one session, my email is in the description of this video, and you can contact me that way. It's $22 an hour. I try to make it affordable, but also still have that sharing of energy and balancing out the karma. The Reiki of it. So I love you all. Thank you so much for your service. And I'll see you again soon. Aho blessings.